We are used to postponing life. It always seems that the right moment is just about to arrive. The week will end, the holidays will come, money will appear, inspiration will strike. We tell ourselves, I will start living when everything falls into place. But reality is different. The perfect moment does not exist. And the longer we wait, the more we lose. Stoicism teaches us a simple but harsh truth. Life is now. All we truly have is today, this very moment, this breath. The past cannot be returned. The future is unknown. And the present slips away the moment we decide to postpone it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not postpone life. Each day is a whole life." These words are not a philosophical metaphor, but a guide to action. Waiting seems safe. We think that by postponing, we are preparing, gathering strength, looking for the right time. But most often this is a trap. It is a way to avoid fear and responsibility. We wait for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect circumstances, and forget that such perfect conditions never exist. A Stoic would say, either you live today or you lose life forever. Seneca, in his treatise on the shortness of life, wrote that most people die without ever beginning to live. They endlessly prepare, plan, and wait for happiness to arrive tomorrow. But tomorrow may never come. How many times have we told ourselves, I'll start on Monday, next month I'll begin, next year I'll change everything. But each time life was postponed, and with it the most precious currency, time, slipped away. Stoicism does not call us to recklessly throw ourselves into chaos. It says, do what is within your power, here and now. We have no guarantee of the future, but today we have the chance to take a step, small but real. A Stoic does not wait for easier conditions. He acts within the circumstances that exist. This video is an invitation to stop waiting and start living. Not tomorrow, not after vacation, not when there is more strength, but right now. We will look at why waiting is destructive, how Stoic philosophy helps us break free from this habit, and what practices can return us to the present. Because every day of delay is a day stolen from your life. The nature of waiting. Why do we wait? At first glance, the desire for a better moment seems natural. We want to be sure we are doing the right thing. But behind this always hide deeper fears and illusions. The Stoics pointed out, a person postpones life not because he lacks time, but because he lacks clarity, the illusion of control. We wait because we believe that in the future everything will be easier, as if difficulties will disappear and circumstances will align perfectly. But this is a deception. The future will never be completely safe. It will always be full of risks, uncertainty, and surprises. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do you seek refuge in books, in solitude, in silence? But wherever you may be, if you do not find peace within yourself, you will find it nowhere." Waiting for the right moment is an attempt to hide from chaos instead of accepting it as a part of life. The fear of mistakes. We are afraid to take a step because we fear making a mistake, and so we choose to wait. But Stoicism teaches, mistakes are inevitable. There is no path without falls, no growth without experiment. Seneca said, "Mistakes are the price of learning." To wait in order to avoid mistakes is to condemn oneself to inaction. The illusion of endless time. The greatest trap is the belief that time is infinite. We say, I will still have another chance. But a Stoic reminds himself daily of mortality, the practice of memento mori. It is not for gloom, but for clarity. You do not know how much time you have left. Therefore, waiting is a luxury you may not have. The psychology of postponement. Modern psychology confirms the thoughts of the Stoics. Waiting is often a form of avoiding anxiety. We feel a temporary relief by saying, "I'll deal with this later." But this later turns into eternity. A Stoic would say, if you are not doing it now, you are most likely never going to do it. The Stoic antidote. Stoic philosophy destroys the myth of waiting by reminding us the present is the only stage on which we can act. Epictetus taught, some things are in our control and others are not. Begin with this distinction. To wait is to waste energy on what we do not control. To act is to take responsibility for what is possible today. Waiting as a habit. It is important to understand, waiting often becomes a way of life. We postpone not just one decision, but everything. Love, work, change, dreams. We say it's not time yet, but time does not come on its own. A Stoic sees it differently. Every day is a challenge. Either you respond or you lose the opportunity. Small steps instead of big expectations. Waiting for a big chance is another trap. In reality, life changes not through giant leaps, but through small steps. One conversation, one habit, one action can change direction. A Stoic knows what matters is not grandeur, but consistency. Every day can be lived in a way that brings you closer to virtue, to clarity, to a life without regret. The Stoic reminder. Seneca wrote, "Life is not short if you know how to use it." The point is that life itself is given to us in sufficiency. The problem lies in how we spend it, and waiting is one of the most destructive ways to waste time. Thus, the nature of waiting is not a lack of opportunities, but inner resistance, fear, and illusions. Stoic wisdom shows, to wait is to deceive yourself into thinking that life is still ahead. But in truth, it is already here. Illusion of control over the future. People often spend their lives waiting for what is supposed to happen. We make plans, strive to foresee every twist of fate, and believe that if we do everything right, the future will bring us satisfaction, security, and success. But the Stoics saw this habit differently. The desire to control what is not in our power is the source of suffering and inner anxiety. Epictetus taught that we possess only one true power, over our own thoughts, judgments, and actions. Everything else, chance, events, the deeds of other people, lies outside our control. To try to master them is to waste life on illusions and fears. When we plan for the future, it often seems as though we are acting rationally. We make schedules, create lists of goals, and try to anticipate every risk. Yet the deeper we fall into this, the more we become prisoners of expectations. We fear the result will not be perfect, that someone will disappoint us, that circumstances will change. This fear breeds anxiety, prevents us from acting here and now, and robs us of the joy of life. Epictetus plainly said, "Do not concern yourself with what does not depend on you. Everything else is illusion." The words sound simple, but their practical power is immense. Take an example from daily life. A person prepares for an important meeting, whether negotiations at work or an exam. He rehearses scenarios, worries about others' reactions, and tries to predict every detail. But the outcome is often unpredictable. People behave differently than expected. Circumstances shift. Events unfold according to their own laws. If he ties his happiness to the outcome, anxiety will be constant and disappointment inevitable. The Stoic, however, sees it differently. He prepares himself, does what lies within his power, and accepts the outcome as given. He does not force what resists, but directs his effort toward what is truly controllable, his own thoughts and actions. This difference in approach fundamentally changes the inner state. The person who strives to control everything lives in constant anxiety, his mind filled with endless predictions and scenarios. The Stoic, having recognized the limits of his power, achieves tranquility. He acts with wisdom and attention, but does not cling to the result. His inner world is untouched by the shifts of fortune, because he is not bound to what lies beyond control. The illusion of controlling the future is closely tied to the habit of postponing life for later. We tell ourselves, when circumstances are ideal, then I'll do the important thing. When the right moment comes, then I'll begin to live. But the right moment does not exist and never will. The world does not obey our expectations. It follows its own laws. Waiting for the future is an attempt to force the world to act according to our wishes. The Stoics insisted that life should be accepted as it is, and that we must use what is within our power here and now. Epictetus compares the person who tries to control the future to a slave trying to master his master. We can govern only ourselves. Everything else is like the wind, blowing its own way regardless of our efforts. Accepting this brings freedom. Instead of worrying about what will happen, we focus on what truly matters. We learn to respond to events with wisdom, calm, and dignity. The Stoic view of the future does not imply passivity. It does not say, do not plan, do not act. On the contrary, it teaches us to act with full dedication within our power, but without attachment to the outcome. That means preparing and applying effort, but without the illusion of controlling what is ruled by chance or the will of others. We do what we can and accept the result as given. This practice leads to freedom and inner peace. Every moment we spend worrying about the future is a lost now. The Stoics emphasize the value of the present. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the past is gone, the future unknown, and only the current moment is truly ours. If we waste it on fantasies of what may happen, we lose the chance to live in harmony with the world and ourselves. Accepting that we can control only our actions liberates the mind and fills life with meaning. This practice also strengthens character. When we cease to cling to external circumstances, we become resilient in the face of difficulties. Events that once provoked fear or irritation are now seen as a natural part of life. We learn to meet everything with clarity, courage, and composure, making us stronger and wiser. Ultimately, the illusion of controlling the future is a trap from which one can escape by applying Stoic principles. Realizing that we master only ourselves frees us from anxiety, allows us to act effectively, and lets us live in harmony with the present. Epictetus teaches, do not expect the world to conform to your wishes. Govern yourself and you will be free. This simple principle, if lived daily, turns each moment into true life, free from the burden of what is not in our power, the danger of postponement. Man is inclined to postpone life until tomorrow. We tell ourselves, now is not the time. I must prepare first. When circumstances are better, then I will act. But the Stoics saw this as one of the greatest mistakes. Life is here and now, and the attempt to defer it to the future is a path to wasting time, energy, and inner peace. Seneca repeats in his letters, life was not given to us so that we could postpone it until tomorrow. It is short and we waste it on trifles. These words sound like a warning. Postponement destroys the very essence of existence. Each later is a lost day. We think we can afford to wait for better conditions, more knowledge, a convenient moment. But time flows regardless of our wishes. It does not ask whether we are ready or not. Days, months, years pass, and life slips away. By putting off important deeds and conscious actions, we create the illusion of control over the future. But in reality, we lose the most precious thing, the present. The Stoics called this one of the most dangerous traps of the human soul. Procrastination is a vivid example of this danger. When we put off tasks, we not only lose time but also increase inner tension. The mind remembers the unfulfilled obligations, which causes anxiety and stress. The Stoics teach we can and must govern ourselves. A postponed life is a life we willingly hand over to circumstances, fears, or laziness. Seneca wrote that life is short for those who waste it on trifles. Each moment we defer an action or intention, we voluntarily give away a part of our life into the hands of chance. Emotional burnout is another result of postponement. When we delay action, inner tension accumulates. We fear we will not cope, that the result will disappoint. Instead of acting gradually and consciously, we suffer over the impossibility of perfection. The Stoic acts differently. He accepts that the path to a goal consists of successive steps and that imperfection is inevitable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do your work without concern for what others think of it or how it will be judged." This approach frees from paralyzing fear and burnout. Postponement also destroys inner freedom. A life lived in the habit of delay is governed by circumstances, moods, and the opinions of others. One loses the ability to be master of one's own time. The Stoics emphasized, freedom is the ability to act according to reason and the nature of things. If we defer life until tomorrow, we willingly abandon this freedom. We become captives of expectations, circumstances, and our own fears. History offers examples of the danger of such a habit. Seneca, while in exile, did not complain about conditions or wait for a better time. He wrote philosophical treatises, engaged in reflection, and corresponded with students, despite hardships. He understood that to wait for ideal conditions was to rob oneself of the chance to live and act. Marcus Aurelius, whether on the battlefield or in matters of state, faced circumstances beyond his control daily. Yet he acted, recognizing that each moment was a chance to live with dignity. Postponement also destroys personal potential. By putting life off until later, we deprive ourselves of experience, growth, and opportunities. The time we waste on waiting will never return. The Stoics taught that life is not the sum of future achievements, but every day we live. If we miss the chance to act today, we lose not only minutes, but part of our wisdom, character, and inner strength. The practical wisdom of the Stoics lies in acting here and now, regardless of circumstances. We can apply morning reflections. What is in my power today? And evening self-reports. What have I done? These practices help us stop postponing life until tomorrow and teach us to use every moment. Even if conditions are far from perfect, we can live in harmony with ourselves and the world, acting according to reason and nature. Thus, postponement is not just a habit or weakness. It is a dangerous trap that destroys time, strength, and inner freedom. The Stoics call for mindfulness, to act within our power, to value every moment, and not to wait for perfect conditions. Life is not for tomorrow, but for today, Seneca reminds us. Each later steals a part of our life, makes us captives of the illusion of control, and robs us of the chance to live our day with wisdom, dignity, and joy. Postponing life is the enemy of mind and soul. Freedom from this habit comes through understanding and practicing Stoic principles. To accept reality, to act within one's power, to value the present moment. A Stoic does not wait for tomorrow. He lives today, knowing that each day is a chance to live fully, honestly, and with dignity. The Stoic formula of living here and now. Human life does not take place in the past or in the future. It is concentrated in the present moment. The past is gone. It no longer exists. The future is unknown. And the only thing truly within our power is the now. The Stoics taught that consciously living each moment is the key to freedom, tranquility, and wisdom. To wait for better conditions, the perfect time, or the right moment is to deny oneself life itself. The present is the only thing that truly belongs to us, and only through it can we influence our destiny. The practice of memento mori, the remembrance of death, is the foundation of the Stoic formula for living here and now. Awareness of life's finitude should not lead to fear or despair. On the contrary, it helps us set priorities and act with clarity. When we realize that each day might be our last, we begin to value moments that once seemed ordinary. A cup of tea, a conversation with a loved one, a walk outside, all of these gain meaning when we understand. Time is limited, and to waste it is to lose life itself. The words of Marcus Aurelius are especially relevant here. Do not waste even a minute on what has no meaning. He wrote that thoughts about the past and future distract a person from the present, from acting within his own will. The Stoic formula of life here and now is not an escape from plans or goals, but the ability to distinguish between what is within our power and what is not, and to act wisely in what we can control. This formula requires constant attention to one's thoughts, judgments, and actions. Mindfulness is not a fashionable word or meditation for its own sake. It is the ability to notice the moment, to observe one's reactions, and to choose actions that align with reason rather than with habit or emotion. Every thought, every word, every deed should be filled with awareness of the present. The Stoic does not live in the illusions of the future, nor cling to the past. He acts where his strength is greatest, in the now. A practical example of this principle can be seen in the way Stoics live their daily lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote his reflections in the midst of state affairs, during war, surrounded by noise and chaos. He did not postpone philosophy for better times, or wait for convenient conditions. Every moment, however difficult, became an object of observation, analysis, and action. Epictetus, living in slavery and deprivation, still found opportunities to teach students, write guidance, and perfect himself. Their lives are a vivid confirmation that the Stoic formula of living here and now works regardless of external circumstances. One of the key Stoic exercises is the practice of inner self-observation. In the morning, it is useful to ask yourself, what is within my power today? This helps focus on actions that we can truly perform. In the evening, it is worth asking, what have I done? How did I use this day? Such simple practices transform each day into a conscious experience of life. We stop postponing, fearing, or waiting for perfect conditions. Each moment becomes an opportunity to practice virtue, wisdom, and self-control. Breath meditation is another tool for living in the here and now. Paying mindful attention to one's breathing helps keep awareness in the present, reduces anxiety about the future, and dispels the distractions caused by thoughts of the past. Simply observing each inhalation and exhalation returns the mind to the current moment, where we can act effectively and with clarity. Mindful pauses before reacting help us resist being ruled by immediate emotions and instead choose actions that align with reason. Often we react automatically, with irritation, fear, or the desire to control events. The Stoic exercise is to notice the emotion, take a pause, understand its cause, and only then act. In this way, each moment becomes a space for freedom and wisdom, not a trap of impulses and external circumstances. The practice of gratitude complements this formula. A Stoic values life not because it is perfect, but because it is given. The recognition of simple joys, the ability to see the good in each day, gratitude for health, encounters, and experiences. All of this strengthens our awareness of the present and makes life richer. The philosophy of the Stoics does not require perfect conditions, wealth, or peace. It teaches us to use what we have, here and now. Life cannot be postponed into the future. There is no someday for true happiness and meaning. Every action, every decision, every thought matters when we are focused on the present. Thus, the Stoic formula for life here and now is awareness of life's finitude, memento mori, acceptance of only what is within our control, the practice of mindfulness, observing thoughts, emotions, and actions, morning reflections and evening reviews, breath meditation and mindful pauses before reacting, gratitude for every moment and experience. Following these principles frees a person from anxiety, the illusion of control, and procrastination. The Stoic lives in harmony with himself and with the world, values each moment, and acts with wisdom. He knows life is every day, every hour, every minute, not someday, and within this understanding lies true freedom and strength of spirit. Practices for the present. A Stoic life is impossible without regular practice. Mindfulness, attention to one's thoughts and actions, the ability to act within one's power, all of this requires training. Philosophy ceases to be theory if it is not reinforced by daily actions. Stoic practices help a person avoid postponing life, govern himself, and maintain inner calm and wisdom even in difficult circumstances. One of the key practices is morning reflection. Immediately upon waking, it is useful to ask oneself, what is within my power today? Which actions depend only on me? This simple ritual directs attention to what truly matters and helps plan the day from a Stoic perspective. We do not attempt to control events or the behavior of others. Instead, we focus on our own thoughts, decisions, and actions. Morning reflection creates a mental framework for the day that allows us to act with intention rather than impulse. Evening self-review is another important practice. At the end of the day, one should ask, what did I do? How did I use today? Where did I give in to emotions or lose focus from my goals? Such analysis helps notice habits that prevent us from living in the present and reinforces behavior consistent with reason. Seneca wrote that a person who evaluates his actions daily gradually becomes the master of his life, rather than the slave of circumstances. Evening self-review is a way to sum up, correct mistakes, and learn from one's own experience. Breath meditation is another tool of Stoic practice. Conscious attention to inhalation and exhalation brings the mind back to the present moment, reducing anxiety and inner tension. The Stoic observes the breath without trying to change it, simply focusing on the present instant. This practice strengthens concentration, cultivates the ability to notice thoughts and emotions, and teaches us to perceive events without excessive judgment. Through breath meditation, we learn to be here and now without letting thoughts of the past or future dominate us. Mindful pauses before reaction are another element of practice. Often we act automatically. We become irritated, lose patience, give in to fear, or seek to control events. A Stoic takes a pause, notices the emotion, understands its cause, and only then chooses how to act. This habit builds inner freedom and strength of spirit. Instead of being driven by circumstances, we become masters of our reactions. Each moment becomes an opportunity to express virtue rather than a source of suffering. The practice of gratitude helps maintain attention on the present and see the value of life in its simplicity. A Stoic is grateful for each day, for experiences, for the people he interacts with, and for the opportunities to act. Gratitude does not mean denying difficulties. It means seeing the positive, even in challenging situations. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind that values present moments and opportunities finds peace and harmony. Gratitude strengthens mindfulness and allows us to enjoy life as it is, without postponing joy into the future. Another practice is keeping a journal. Recording one's thoughts, goals, and observations helps structure the mind and maintain focus on the present. It is a way to notice recurring mistakes, to see where we postpone life, and to strengthen the habit of acting purposefully. A journal becomes a mirror of the inner state and a tool for self-improvement. The Stoics also recommended reflecting on death and life's finitude, not to inspire fear, but to perceive the value of each moment. Awareness that life is finite increases motivation to use each day well. We stop postponing important matters, realize that perfect conditions will never come, and begin to act with clarity and determination. Applying these practices requires consistency. Morning reflections, evening reviews, meditation, mindful pauses, gratitude, and journaling are tools that form the habit of living in the present. The more regularly we practice them, the stronger our ability becomes to notice the present moment, govern ourselves, and direct our efforts where they truly matter. Stoic life in the here and now is not abstract philosophy, but a concrete, practical work upon oneself. It requires discipline, but rewards with freedom, tranquility, and inner harmony. Each exercise strengthens the mind, teaches us to act within our own power, and to value life's moments. Thus, practices for the present form a person who does not postpone life until tomorrow. He uses each day, each hour, each moment. He is aware of his power over his thoughts, actions, and reactions, accepts the inevitable, and values the present. Stoic practice transforms mere existence into a life filled with meaning, wisdom, and virtue. Examples of Stoic life. The philosophy of Stoicism comes alive in the concrete actions of people who applied its principles in the most diverse circumstances. The stories of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca show that Stoic life is not abstract reflection, but a practice of wisdom, resilience, and inner freedom. These examples inspire us to live here and now, to act within our power, and not to wait for ideal conditions. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, faced daily the challenges of power, war, and political intrigue. He could easily have given in to anger, fear, or despair, but chose a different path. In his meditations, he constantly returned to Stoic principles, to value the present, act according to reason, and control only his own thoughts and actions. On the battlefield amidst noise and chaos, he preserved clarity of mind, reflected on his role in the world, and on the proper use of power. His life is an example of how one can maintain inner harmony even when external circumstances are far from ideal. Epictetus, born into slavery, also showed that external conditions do not define inner freedom. Despite limitations, he developed philosophy, taught students, and wrote guidance that became the foundation of the Enchiridion. Epictetus did not complain about the injustice of fate. He accepted his situation and focused on what was truly within his power: his thoughts, judgments, and actions. His example teaches us that we can be free and wise regardless of external circumstances if we govern our inner world and act in accordance with reason. Seneca, exiled from Rome, faced political intrigues, danger, and deprivation. Instead of sinking into fear and complaint, he wrote philosophical treatises, reflected, advised students, and used difficulties as opportunities for growth. Seneca understood, to wait for better conditions is to lose life. His letters show how Stoic practice transforms each moment into a chance for wise and deliberate action. All these examples share one common feature: Stoic figures did not postpone life until someday. They lived here and now, valued every moment, acted within their power, and did not allow external circumstances to rule them. They understood that the inner world can be preserved and strengthened regardless of chaos, injustice, or hardship. This ability for self-control and mindfulness makes their lives examples to follow. Stoic practice is also manifested in small things. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the need to remain calm in irritation and about careful attention to one's thoughts and judgments. Epictetus recommended noticing one's reactions and choosing actions according to reason, not emotions. Seneca emphasized the importance of using each day, valuing the present moment, and being grateful for life itself. These small but regular practices shape character and strengthen inner freedom. The examples of the Stoics show that perfect conditions are not necessary for a genuine life. We do not need wealth, a convenient time, or favorable circumstances. True life is always available here and now, and it depends not on the external world, but on how we govern ourselves. By applying Stoic principles, one can preserve calm, clarity of mind, and the ability to act even in the most difficult situations. Thus, the stories of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca are not just biographical facts, but lessons in Stoic practice. They show how philosophy is embodied in action, how the inner world depends only on us, while external events serve merely as a backdrop for the expression of virtue. Their lives confirm, do not wait for perfect conditions, do not postpone action, live here and now. Every day is an opportunity to embody wisdom, resilience, and freedom. Stoic examples inspire us to apply the same principles in our own lives. We can learn from them patience, mindfulness, gratitude, and inner strength. Their experience reminds us the external world is unpredictable, but the inner world can always be strengthened. We can act, reflect, and value every moment, becoming wiser despite any circumstances. And in conclusion, to wait is to lose life. This simple thought is a challenge to the modern person, accustomed to postponing actions, dreams, and decisions for later. We tend to hope for ideal conditions, to wait until circumstances become favorable, or to believe that tomorrow will be better. But the Stoics teach us the opposite. True life happens here and now. The past is gone, the future is unknown, and the only moment truly in our power is today. Any postponement, any attempt to defer life until tomorrow, is a voluntary loss of time and inner freedom. The philosophy of Stoicism shows a path to liberation from illusions of control and anxiety about the future. We can govern only ourselves, our thoughts, judgments, and actions. Everything else subject to chance, circumstances, or the will of others is beyond our control. Accepting this principle does not make us passive. On the contrary, it gives us clarity. We direct our efforts where they truly matter and cease to waste energy on what cannot be changed. Stoic wisdom teaches us to act with full dedication, but without attachment to results, knowing that our power is limited to our inner world. The practices of the Stoics make this philosophy alive and applicable. Morning reflections help determine what is in our power today. Evening self-reviews allow us to evaluate how we use the day, notice mistakes, and reinforce the habit of acting mindfully. Breath meditation, mindful pauses before reaction, and the practice of gratitude return attention to the present moment, reduce anxiety, and strengthen inner resilience. These exercises build the habit of living here and now, turning each day into an opportunity for wisdom and virtue. The lives of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca demonstrate that a Stoic life is possible under any circumstances. They did not wait for perfect conditions, did not postpone action until tomorrow, and did not allow external events to control them. Their lives were filled with meaning and inner harmony precisely because they acted within their power, valued every moment, and consciously used the time given to them. The central lesson of Stoicism is simple yet profound. Life is not in the future or the past. It is here and now. Every moment spent in waiting slips away forever. Do not put off until tomorrow what can be done today. Do not wait for Monday. Do not wait for the right time. Do not let fear or laziness rule you. All you have is today, and it is today that you can act with wisdom, embody virtue, strengthen character, and be free. A life lived stoically is a life of full dedication, inner clarity, and calm. The Stoic knows there is no better moment than now. He does not fear death, cling to the future, or complain about the past. He acts, reflects, and values each moment. True life begins here and now, and to wait for it is to lose it. Every moment is a chance to be free, wise, and alive. And it is precisely this moment that we must seize while it is still ours.